What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another week's devotional. And this week is part four to our self-care series entitled The Main Thing, based on Luke chapter 10, verses 40 through 42. And it says, Common English Bible, by the way. By contrast, Martha was preoccupied with getting everything ready for their meal. So Martha came to him and said, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to prepare the table all by myself? Tell her to help me." The Lord answered, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things. One thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the better part. It won't be taken away from her." Now, there's a lot going on in this scripture, and to make a long story less long, I'll sum it up this way. Jesus and the disciples, his boys, the people have come to town, and they stay at the house of Martha and Mary. And so we of course, see the part that we just read is in the middle of what is happening. So, of course, the Jewish custom at the time would be for, in the ancient culture at the time, would be for the women to prepare the table, which means prepare the meal, set the table, do all of that type of stuff for the guest, the invited guest. And Jesus and the disciples are guests in Martha and Mary's home. In order for the guest, to not have the guest do anything, the host and particularly the women handle that particular job of getting everything together. So what Mary is doing, sitting at the feet of Jesus along with the disciples, is actually contrary to what the custom is, contrary to what the tradition is, contrary to what the social mores of this time were. So Mary is in fact doing something that is out of the ordinary for a woman at this time. And so what Martha is doing is she's doing what she's supposed to be doing. She's doing what she knows to do. She's doing what needs to be done. And so when Martha says, "Lord, aren't you going to tell, Mary to help me?" She's not doing anything. Jesus' response is so fascinating, but it's so important for all of us. He says, "Martha, Martha, you are preoccupied and distracted by many things." Yes, what Martha is doing is important, but what Jesus is saying is that Mary, being at the feet of Jesus, being in relationship with Jesus, spending time with Jesus, is the main thing, is the most important thing. The way he puts it is, one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the better part. That is what we all need to keep in mind today and every day of our lives. There are things that that are going to preoccupy our attention. There are things that we're going to be distracted by that are not necessarily bad things. We're not talking about, doing some wild, crazy, outrageous things. Even just in the day-to-day things, even in things that are important for us to do and pay attention to, whether that be on our jobs, whether that be with our families, our spouses and children, and just anybody in our lives that we may care for. It doesn't really matter what it is. There are things that we do that are important, but Jesus is telling us, in the midst of all of what you're doing, do not forget about the main thing, which is Him. Do not forget about spending your time with Jesus to develop and grow in relationship with Him. That is what we all need to remember. Keep the main thing, and the main thing is Jesus, our relationship with Jesus, being in relationship with Jesus, and gaining exactly what we need through that relationship and through that communion with the one who is responsible for the salvation that we all enjoy. And so that is something that I want us all keep in mind. That is something that is important for us. And so again, in whatever you do, remember the main thing. That's all I have for today. Peace and love, y'all.